Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's Summer STEAM program, part of Faulkner County Library's 2020 Summer Reading Program, Imagine Your Story. I'm Miss Mary, Storytime Programmer here at the library in Conway, Arkansas. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get started. Toadstool lanterns. How on earth are we gonna build these? Well, I've got some stuff to get us started. First off, we're gonna need some colored craft paper. I've got two to choose from here. I've got some green construction paper and some gray cardstock to try out. We are going to need a toilet paper roll, and I've got several of these toilet paper rolls or cardboard rolls in different colors that I'm gonna put in your materials packet. I've got a red one. We're also going to need a pencil, and we're gonna need a black marker. Got one of those right here. Some scissors and some craft glue. I've got a glue stick and some glue dots here. And then I've got some white paint. Totally optional, but lots of fun. And then a light source, which we'll get to at the end. Are you ready to get started? I know I am. Here we go. The first thing I'm going to do is take my pencil and draw a window on the side of it. I'm going to make mine a shuttered window with little flaps that open and close. So wish me luck. Here I go with my pencil. Good thing the pencils have erasers. All right, everybody, as you can hopefully see, I drew an arched window. I drew a straight line kind of here, and then I went up and put a curve or a domed top on it. This is kind of in the center of my roll. And then I drew a little dotted line down the center because I'm going to cut that and make shutters that open and close. To do this, scissors may not work. I may need to use a box cutter or a little blade. So this is probably where we are definitely gonna need some grown-ups help. Wish me luck, here I go. Okay, so as you can see, I cut the line down the middle and across the bottom, through the arch, so that I didn't cut the sides, so that hopefully, yeah, they can open like that. Yay! Yes! Now, if you didn't like the color of your cardboard roll here, you could paint it. I like red, so I'm gonna leave it like that. I may get a marker instead of paint and color the inside of it. Yeah, I think that'll look pretty cool. I'm gonna go grab a marker. Okay, so I colored the inside of my shutters purple, and I colored the inside of my Toadstool house orange. And remember, this is how I'm making my toadstool lantern. You don't have to make yours exactly the same way I do. You may want to make this a door instead of a window, or you just may opt to just make a toadstool, and that's okay. This is for you to be creative with and for you to enjoy. We all have little engineers, little builders inside of us, and let that little builder engineer out. It probably has some fantastic ideas. Okay, so now I think what I want to do is I'm gonna take my black marker and I'm gonna color the edges of my shutters, and I'm going to trace the window and maybe draw some little knobs on my shutters. I outlined my shutters in black. I kind of like it because it helps with the optical illusion that my cuts are a little bit straighter than they are. Although my marker did slip right there when I was making my knob, but you know what? That's okay. It's gonna be a happy little toadstool lantern. It's a happy little accident. Maybe I'll even put like a little dash over there. Make it look like they're a match set. Okay, now that I have done that, I think the next thing I'm going to do is cut out some grass from this green paper that I'm going to glue along the bottom. So I'm just going to cut the bottom here of the green construction paper, because I probably will not even need all of this. I'm going to wrap it around for a quick measurement. Yep, only going to need that much of it. So I'm going to trim it a little bit, leave a little bit extra because I can always trim it down later. And then I'm going to use my scissors to make some blades of grass. All right, to make that go a little bit faster, I folded it over like that and cut with my scissors. If it's too thick for you to do that, if it's too hard, that's okay. Not the wispiest grass, but I think that it will do. All right, now I am going to glue it to the bottom. I think I'm going to use my trusty handy dandy glue stick for this. Ta-da! All right, maybe if you wanted to, you could put some butterfly or some flower stickers on here. I think that would be really, really cute. All right, so now that we've glued the grass on, what is next? Let me look at my notes. Oh, we're gonna cut a circle out of, I think I'm gonna use the rest of my piece of green construction paper. Here we go. Boys and girls, now comes the part with the white paint. I've got some white paint here. I don't even really need a paintbrush. I'm just gonna use the eraser of my pencil to paint little white dots on this piece of green paper. Oop. All right, now my toadstool dot paints are mostly dry. So I'm going to take my scissors and I am going to cut towards the center of my paper. And then I'm going to overlap the sides so that it kind of points up. And the more you overlap it, the pointier it gets. Because remember, it's gonna sit on top like that. I'm going to use a glue dot, maybe two. Now, if you have a straw at home, especially a good flexi straw, you can do this. Again, it is optional, but if we cut this and attach it, I think it'll look a little bit like a chimney. So I'm gonna just snip it with my scissors. So I think the next thing we need to do is attach the roof to the house. Now let's see. There's some different ways you could do this. You could use, I don't think stick glue would work very good for this. I think we probably need to use some glue dots or some liquid glue. And I'm going to use some glue dots. Oh, that worked really, really well, actually. Yay! Okay, now for my light source, I have some leftover LED string lights from last week's summer STEAM project. So we'll need, like I said, a light source and a base. So I think that may be what I'm gonna use my gray cardstock for. So, I think the first thing I may do is cut a circle bigger or about the same size as the circle that I cut out the roof of the house, about twice the size of the diameter of the cardboard roll itself. Now I'm going to take the string light out of the package. And I'm going to pull the little tab out so that the batteries connect. Make sure they work. Yay, they do. And let's see here. I need to see how this may or may not fit. The length of the battery pack is longer, so I think what I'm going to do is attach it to the inside. Wait a minute. No. I think I'm going to have to attach it to the back so that you can turn it off and on and put the lights inside and then attach it to the base. If I were doing, I may cut a little notch right there. I'm not going to do it right now, but if you want to make sure it lays a little more flush, you can put it like a little notch for the cord right there. You know, sometimes when you're building, things don't work out exactly the way you planned, and so you adjust your plans, which is what Miss Mary is doing here. And there we go. We've got a little base, and we've got our little toadstool house with our little lights inside. Looks like a little, maybe a little gnome fire is glowing in there. Yeah. Aww. Look, it makes the perfect companion to our fairy habitat from last week. All right, make sure that you have these two pieces, but we are actually going to set them to the side for the moment, and we are going to get out our white yarn. And I'm going to take this white yarn, and I'm going to wrap it around my fingers around about 12 times. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, and I'm going to snip it. If you're a kid doing this, you might want to wrap it around all 5 fingers, thumb on your hand. Now I'm going to cut off another little snip of white. And I'm going to tie it around this circle of yarn. And I'm going to make a knot, kind of like that. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to cut that circle of yarn like that. So I've got one extra long piece. I'm going to trim it right there. Okay. Woohoo! We got our gnome beard done. All right. Now I am going to take one of our glue dots. I'm going to attach it to the knot right there and peel it off. And then I'm gonna put it on here. Now you wanna make sure that it's up high enough that the knot will be under the hat, and you wanna make sure, or I like to make sure that the beard does not come down over the finger holes. So I think we're good. I'm gonna press that down. Woohoo! Yep, and I think that's gonna work just about right. So I'm gonna put some glue dots on this green hat. All right, now I'm gonna put the hat on. Kind of make sure that it lines up before you press it in. I think that's okay. Yay! All right, we're not quite done, but we're getting pretty close. The next thing I'm gonna do is use a glue dot in the little tiny pom-pom to make a nose. Oops, almost lost that little tiny pom-pom. All right, and I'm gonna stick it. Ooh, it's sticking to my fingernails. Right there, look at that, yeah. And now, I think my gnome is looking good, but it's a little plain. So I have some of these little butterfly stickers, because I just think that gnomes would like butterflies. What do you think? If you have some different stickers, or if you want to color it with markers, that would probably work really well. Oh, I'm gonna get a little red butterfly. Let's see, I think I could fit one more on there. Maybe this one right here. Guys, there is my summer gnome finger puppet. It's Gnomey, nice to meet you. For today's science demonstration, we are doing something called sink or swim. For this demonstration, I'm using a clear glass pitcher, mostly full of water, and I'm gonna need some Play-Doh, and then I've got some paper clips. So the first thing we're gonna do is take some Play-Doh, and we are going to knead it and roll it into a shape about the size and shape of a golf ball. All right, now I am gonna drop the Play-Doh ball into the water. Do you think the Play-Doh ball will sink or float? Maybe I should have called this demo Sink or Float. Well, let's see. I think that's pretty definitely a sink. Okay, I took the ball of Play-Doh out of the water and I'm drying it off. Learned a little bit about water displacement. When your water pitcher is that full, be mindful of how much space your hand and your arm are gonna take up in the pitcher, because if it takes up too much space, the water will overflow. Also, Play-Doh gets wet surprisingly and sticky surprisingly quickly. But I'm just kind of rolling it off here in this paper towel. And the next part of our little demonstration is to take this ball out and form it into kind of a hollowed out or bowl shape. So I stuck my thumbs in the middle of it, just kind of squeezing and pushing out. Yeah, kind of like I'm making a little bowl or a little cup. Maybe even, dare I say, a boat. That looks pretty good. It will fit there. Okay, so when I put this in the water, now that it's a different shape, do you think that it will sink or float? Sink or swim, sink or float? What do you think? Well, let's find out. Here we go. Y'all, it's floating. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna put some paper clips into it and see if it will still float with that. It is. My little Play-Doh boat can even carry cargo. I'm gonna put in a few more. Ooh, it sunk a little bit lower. That may be all it can hold. Oh, too much, too much, too much. Well, that was pretty cool. So why do you think that the Play-Doh sank first, but then it floated when we changed it from a ball shape to a cup or a bowl shape? Well, I do know that Play-Doh is much more dense than water. So I think when it's rolled up into a ball, that's why it sinks, because it's more dense than the water. However, if we made enough space in that bowl shape, the bowl-shaped Play-Doh will float because it displaces more than its own weight of the water. So displace means to take the place of. So when we made it into that boat shape, instead of like here, the ball pushing down through the less dense water, the weight is spread out more like a cup. And so instead of all of its weight going through the water, like right there at that one point, it's spread out over this big area. And so there's weight here and here and here and here. So its weight is shifted or distributed over the water like that. Thanks for joining me for my Sink or Swim, Sink or Float science demonstration. Thanks for being a part of our summer STEAM program. I hope you have fun replicating this and experimenting with it at home. I hope you enjoy making your gnome finger puppets and your Toadstool gnome home lantern. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.